What's up, everyone? It's Frank here, and for kind of an evening rant, I guess you could call it. For some of you might know that I'm a huge Escape from Tarkov fan. I actually play it several times per week, as much as I possibly can. And recently, a game got released finally. It has been in beta for quite a while, called Hired Ops, which is one of the I have actually talked about it before in an old video of mine from a long time ago. But now that I have played the released version, I played a lot more Escape from Tarkov, and in general, I feel that I might actually be able to talk a bit better about it than I did last time. And basically, what Hired Ops is a free-to-play FPS, and it's from this kind of weird sister studio, I guess you could call it, to Battlestate Games. The game is placed in the same universe, and it is also it's basically a sequel to an old Facebook browser game, which was actually pretty cool. To be honest, for being a browser game, it was fucking amazing. But well, I'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, so it's a free-to-play FPS. It has been released on Steam for everyone to play as much as you want. There is no cost to it. As far as I have noticed from the shop, it actually seems pretty fair too when it comes to the payment model. And to be honest, when it comes to the actual cost of entry, I would actually say it's one of the better free-to-play games. No joke. I genuinely mean that. Now, what I do want to talk about, however, is everything else. And I'm gonna start by saying that this isn't a bad game at all. But I am going to do some heavy criticism towards the game. And that's kind of because I kind of want to see this game succeed in a weird way. Because I feel like the developers behind it, I feel like that they have some passion towards this universe, but there are quite a bit of things that they really need to how can I even say this without it sounding weird? To really focus on certain areas of improvement, and I'll get to that. But yeah, firstly, the graphics, they're acceptable. It's nothing special, as you can see. It doesn't look bad, but it looks okay. It looks really okay. It does its job. It seems to be flowing perfectly on my system, but I do have an upper end of the line, a 2080 Super and a 3900X. So take that with a grain of salt. The only other computer I have currently is an old laptop from 12 years ago, and I'm not gonna try installing this on that because I'm pretty sure it would actually catch on fire. but yeah. So yeah, but on the other hand though, the maps, the look of the levels, I do feel that this game has kind of gone into the Call of Duty trap, which Call of Duty basically invented, and that's that the maps themselves doesn't feel authentic. And what I mean by this is that it basically feels like it's, say, 2 or 3 lanes, 2 or 3 lanes, 2 or 3 lanes, and it's less. This game actually does its maps a bit better than Call of Duty. On that point, at least, it does have some verticality, it does have a bit more, but it's still these small arenas, which it makes sense in the context of this game, because it's more of a basically Call of Duty Tarkov, I might say. But yeah, so the maps themselves, they feel a bit unrealistic, I guess you can say. In Tarkov, you get a massive map where you can roam around and you can basically pick your own path. And while that would be impossible in this type of game, they still need to like work out in the future maps at least, and maybe fix some of these up, because the ideas for the maps aren't bad. But the execution feels like unauthentic. It feels like the map was designed for a video game and it's not a real location. And when it comes to the universe, which these guys are making their game next to Battlestate, Absolute Soft, which they're called, really needs to actually look at, like, basically the environments are pretty boring in both this and Tarkov, but the difference is the way it's executed. It feels natural, the gunfights in Tarkov. And here, basically, two teams get sent in to do this kind of stuff. I can totally buy that, actually. I really can. The thing is, though, then the maps need to reflect that this is a place where these two factions are interested in fighting over something. And it makes no sense, you know. Instead of having like, I, for example, there is one map which you'll see in this video, which I'm gonna link. It's just one of the points is literally in an open blue container, which is open on both sides, and it's completely empty. And I get that the point is that you're supposed to have cover when you capture it, but this is just an example, I might add. It's not that point specifically, but at least when you fight over something, it should make sense what it is. Like, okay, you have a bunch of containers, maybe one of them is open, and you see these kind of, you know, Terra group documents, bringing that hardcore Tarkov lore now, by the way. But yeah, where you really like focus on that, and you could also actually, there are these contracts in the game, which I do find kind of cool. Like, you can take contracts from different factions, I guess you could call it, which do give you rewards. And instead of having them, because you can't have a system like Tarkov for the ones of you that have played that, so instead maybe you could have like, you get guaranteed rewards, like. But the thing is too, which is very different, that like most of these things have either percentage bonuses or they're just like they're just the same. That sounds so boring. They actually have a huge amount of guns, by the way. Kudos. But the thing is, because of like the shooting, most of them actually feels the same. Like, it does feel like playing that old Facebook browser game. It does feel a bit better, of course, but it does still feel like a free browser game. Like, you can really tell that the gun mechanics is not even close on the same level as Tarkov, which I do understand, because what Tarkov is doing is insane, and doing that in a game like this would like actually break it in half. But the gun, like, when shooting, the gun mechanics, they really need a rework. Like, it's not satisfying. Another thing, by the way, speaking of shooting, the hitboxes, I don't know if it's the hitbox or the netcode, but holy crap. Sometimes the game just absolutely desyncs and shots don't connect. And I have said this about other games, not in videos, but in general. If you do an FPS game like this, where the one and only thing you do is shoot at other players, and your shooting doesn't work, you need to fix that. Like, it's not even an argument at that point. The one thing your game is supposed to do doesn't work. Like, we have desync problems in Tarkov, and the reason those are a bit more forgiven, people still complain, and holy fuck, they are right about it, because one of those errors might mean you can't play anymore. Like, you lose so much stuff, and it's like, yeah, sucks to be you. Just got kicked out, I think it was a week ago, from a game. Couldn't reconnect. I reconnected. Bam, 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 bam. But that's for another day. Uh, but yeah, higher ups, you really need to sort out the feeling of your maps, that they feel authentic. You need to like fix your, I don't know if it's the hitboxes or the netcode, but one of those needs fixing. And the gun mechanics, like you kind of have to try and make the shooting feel better, because it's better than a lot of free-to-play FPS games I played. But the problem is that's not saying much, because most of those were actually kind of garbage. So yeah, please fix that. I really beg you, because I do really care about this universe, mostly because of Tarkov, but I do feel that this product can be good too and actually survive next to it. Um, well, what else? What else? Oh yeah, the shop system. I actually want to praise this, because it's pretty cool. Just like in Tarkov, you can pick your ammo type, you can buy some stuff, you can buy a helmet, you can buy a med kit, yeah, you know, grenades, stuff like that. And I actually think it's a better solution than most free-to-play FPS games have, which is like, oh, you can buy grenades for 30 days. No, no, don't do that. So credits to them. The shop system is actually pretty cool. One thing I do want to say, which I want to tie into the maps should feel more authentic, is if your maps doesn't feel authentic, then why the fuck can I buy a fucking mortar strike? Like, what the hell? I don't get it. Sorry, Absolute Soft, but I really don't get it. You like, what the hell? Yeah. You can also buy a drone, which has 3 like grenade shots, and that I actually thought was kind of cool. You know, it makes sense in the setting. It's really powerful, but it kind of makes more sense. Like, you have these operators, they're going in fighting for something, and it is like in the near future. So having a drone firing grenades, that makes sense to me. So yeah. Otherwise, it's just like, I guess the problem itself is it feels too much like just one of these old, like, oh yeah, you're gonna go play some, I don't know, what was the old game called? Contract Warrior or something? Contract Ops. And it's like, you're gonna play some of that at your lunch break at school, better whip it out. But this isn't a browser game as far as I know. It's fully available on Steam. You can play it, you can buy stuff in it, you can install it, you can play it just like a regular game. So I'm not sure what's up with that. But yeah, cool selection of guns, operators feel good. Like the visual stuff is still there, even from Tarkov. You actually look like operators, like PMCs. It looks fantastic. They do reuse a lot of the same gears and stuff, which makes sense because, well, Tarkov uses actual gear, so they're using the same doesn't really, it's nothing weird. And I wouldn't blame them either if they so reuse the same assets. But that brings me to one more point, which I do want to mention before I close this video, and that's, I would like to see these two studios like cooperate a bit more. Like, you have these two games, and as I said, this is kind of a good game. It's just nothing special, and that's a bit sad, because Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov, that's super special. Like a lot of people have heard about it, and those who haven't, when they hear, they're like, "Whoa, what is this?" And they're either they're like, "Oh my god, I have to try this," or they're like, "Oh my god, this sounds too hard. I'm not gonna do it." So the thing is, the universe they have, they can actually build a story around it, and that's where they really should cooperate, build up some lore. Tarkov have these characters. Maybe they could make guest appearances in hired ops, you know? Or maybe like stuff that happens in Tarkov affects hired ops. Maybe you could even link the games somehow, so that you can, if you do a contract in hired ops, you might get nothing big, because that would absolutely break Escape from Tarkov. But maybe you would get, what do I know, an AK more or something. Like something that makes sense. Just something small, just tie them a bit together maybe. That could be a thing. I do understand people who would say, no, 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 please don't do that. But it's like, if we're gonna have two games set in this universe, like the exact same universe, I might add, it's not a different universe, it's the actual same. So yeah, just if you want to try it, do. I'm gonna link it down below. I actually suggest you do. I mean, it's free. Why not? And maybe you'll love it, maybe you'll hate it, and maybe you will be like, meh, that's fine. And it is worth, like, I would say you would get a couple of hours of good dumb fun out of this. And there does seem, at least here in Europe, to be always a game online. Like, you press find match, you basically have a match. It goes so quick, and well, I'm actually happy for them that they seem to have a stable player base. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's just I wanted to vent a bit about it, because it's a bit frustrating for me seeing, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it into words anymore. It's just I feel kind of disappointed somehow. I did expect a bit more, uh, but I do think that, as someone who has played almost 1,000 hours of Tarkov by now, I do feel that I do have this bias. So yeah, please go check the game out. It might be a lot better than it sounds from me, and that might be because I expected a lot more. So yeah, have a nice evening, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Frank here, back again, posted it, and I just want to say that I have decided to do a second thoughts on this. I'm gonna pull the plug on it at the 10-hour mark. I'm a bit over 2 hours right now, so hopefully around, not next week, but the week after that, I'm gonna have a bit more thoughts about the game. So we'll see. I really look forward to trying it out properly, even more. But I do still feel pretty happy about my rant about it so far. But I do guess I just want to see my opinions change about the game. So yeah, that's all from me. Bye.